Hi everybody, Not So Crazy Lady here. I can't make saying that a crazy. FISA memo drop. Let's read the first page, shall we? Dear Mr. Chairman, on January 29, 2018, the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, hereinafter the committee, voted to disclose publicly a memorandum containing classified information provided to the committee in connection with its oversight activities, in brackets, the memorandum, in parentheses, which is attached to the letter. As provided by Clause 11G of Rule X of the House of Representatives, the committee has forwarded this memorandum to the President based on its determination that the release of the memorandum would serve the public interest. The Constitution vests the President. Pay very close attention, people who are having a hard time understanding whose roles are what. Vests the President with the authority to protect national security secrets from disclosure. As the Supreme Court has recognized, it is the President's responsibility to classify or declassify and control access to information bearing on our intelligence sources and methods and national defense. Hence the definition of a deep state running without the President's input, control, or knowledge. That's why he's not a puppet. At least not a regular puppet. I don't think Trump's been anybody's puppet. I'm eating a strawberry fruit bar. I earned it. Okay. In order to facilitate appropriate congressional oversight, the executive branch may entrust classified information to appropriate committees of Congress, as it is done in connection with the committee's oversight activities here. The executive branch does so on the assumption that the committee will responsibly protect such classified information consistent with the laws of the United States. The left doesn't consider the laws of the United States worth even recognizing unless it benefits them in some way. The only time the Constitution is important is when they're trying to destroy it or get some money. Sorry, not going to let it melt. The committee has now determined the release of the memorandum would be appropriate. The executive branch across administrations of both parties has worked to accommodate congressional requests to declassify specific materials in the public interest. However, public release of classified information by unilateral action in the legislative branch is extremely rare and raises significant separation of powers concerns. Accordingly, the committee's request to release the memorandum is interpreted as a request for declassification pursuant to the President's authority. The President understands that the protection of our national security represents his highest obligation. Accordingly, he has directed lawyers and national security staff to assess declassification requests consistent with established standards governing the handling of classified information, including those under Section 3I, D in brackets, of Executive Order 13526. Those standards permit declassification when the public interest in disclosure outweighs any need to protect the information, because it's going to get out there anyway by bad actors. It's better if we as a country are transparent. The only people who have any reason to lie They have things to hide. So, the White House review process also included input from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence and the Department of Justice. Consistent with this review and these standards, the President has determined that declassification of the memorandum is appropriate. Based on this assessment and in light of the significant public interest in this memorandum, the President has authorized the declassification of the memorandum. To be clear, the memorandum reflects judgments of congressional authors. The President understands the oversight concerns concerning matters related to the memorandum may be continuing. Though the circumstances leading to declassification through this process are extraordinary, the executive branch stands ready to work with Congress to accommodate oversight requests consistent with applicable standards and processes, including the need to protect intelligence sources and methods. So this is by Sincerely Donald F. McGahn, Second Counsel to the President. CC Honorable Paul Ryan. There is nothing honorable about Paul Ryan, Speaker of the House of Representatives, and the same about Adam Schiffer, Shifty Schiffer, Ranking Member, House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. So, here is the unclassified document. Purpose. The memorandum provides members an update of significant facts relating to committee ongoing investigation into the Department of Justice and the FBI and their use of the Foreign Intelligence Services Act, FISA, during the 2016 presidential election cycle. Our findings, which are detailed below: 1. Raise concerns with the legitimacy and legality of certain DOJ and FBI interactions with the Foreign Intelligence, Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, FISC, and 2, represent a troubling breakdown of legal processes established to protect the American people from abuses related to the FISA process. Investigation update. On October 21st, 2016, DOJ and FBI sought and received a FISA probable cause order not under Title VII, authorizing electronic surveillance on Carter Page from FISC. Page is a U.S. citizen who served as a volunteer advisor to the Trump presidential campaign. Do you know how many advisors that guy had? Consistent with requirements under FISA, the application had to be first certified by the director or deputy director of the FBI, starts with Comey, and then required the approval of the Attorney General, Deputy Attorney General, or the Senate-confirmed Attorney General for the National Security Division. The FBI and DOJ obtained 1 initial FISA warrant targeting Carter Page and 3 FISA warrant removals from FISC. It's dark in here. As required by statute, 50 U.S. Supreme Court, or the United States Congress, 1805, brackets D, brackets 1, and brackets A, FISA order of an American citizen must be renewed by the FISA court or FISC every 90 days, and each renewal requires a separate finding of probable cause. Then Director Comey signed 3 FISA applications in question on behalf of the FBI. And Director McCabe signed 1. Then DAG, Sally Yates, then Acting DAG, Dana Boente, and DAG Rod Rosenstein each signed 1 or more FISA applications on behalf of DOJ. Due to the sensitive nature of foreign intelligence activity, FISA submissions, including renewals before the FISC, are classified. As such, the public's confidence in the integrity of the FISA process depends on the court's ability to hold the government to the highest standard. In order to do that, you need a step ladder for them to get out of the gutter. FISA process depends on the court's ability to hold the government to the highest standard, particularly as it relates to surveillance of American citizens. However, the FISC rigor in particularly as it relates to the FISC rigor in protecting the rights of Americans, which is reinforced by 90-day renewals of surveillance orders, is necessarily dependent on the government's production to the court of all materials and relevant facts. This is where it gets deep. This should include information potentially favorable to the target of FISA application that is known by the government. In the case of Carter Page, the government had at least 4 independent opportunities before the FISC to accurately provide an accounting of the relevant facts. However, our findings indicate that, as described below, material or relevant information was omitted. The dossier, complied by Christopher Steele on behalf of the DNC and Hillary Clinton campaign, formed an essential part of the Carter Page FISA application. Steele was a longtime FBI source who was paid over $160,000 by DNC and Clinton campaign via the law firm Perkins Coles and research firm Fusion GPS to obtain derogatory information on Donald Trump's ties to Russia. Neither the initial application October 2016 nor any renewals disclose or reference the role of the DNC, Clinton campaign, or any party campaign in funding Steele's efforts, even though the political origins of the Steele dossier were then known to senior DOJ and FBI officials. The initial application notes Steele was working for a named U.S. person, but does not name Fusion GPS, and principal Glenn Simpson, who was paid by a U.S. law firm, Perkins Cole, represented the DNC, even though it was known by DOJ at the time that political actors were involved with the Steele dossier. The application does not mention Steele was ultimately working on behalf and paid by the DNC and Clinton campaign, and that the FBI was separately authorized payments to Steele for the same, or that the FBI had separately authorized payment to Steele for the same information. That's a big deal. The FBI and both the Clinton campaign paid this Steele and this law firm to come up with the same information, which is bogus, to loop around and present. This is just so underhanded and sick. 3. The Carter Page FISA application also cites extensively a September 23rd, there's that number, 2016 Yahoo News article by Michael Ishkop, which focuses on Page's July 2016 trip to Moscow. I wonder if Carter Page and Lisa Page are somehow connected. This article does not corroborate the Steele dossier because it's derived from information leaked Steele himself to Yahoo News. The Page FISA application incorrectly asks that Steve did not directly provide information in Yahoo News. Steele has admitted in British court filings that he met with Yahoo News and several other outlets in September 2016 at the direction of Fusion GPS. Perkins Cole was aware of Steele's initial media contacts before they hosted at least one meeting in Washington, D.C. in 2016 with Steele and Fusion GPS, where this matter was discussed. Okay, this is a lot to unpack. I'm going to have to do this in pieces because it's time to eat. But basically, Yahoo News conspired with the Clinton campaign to try to overthrow our democracy. That's what really happened. To cover up Clinton's collusion. And here's something people don't understand. When they say the Russians, who exactly are the Russians? Huh? Who? They're people who are acting as bad actors who happen to live or were born or are connected to the Russian government. Same way the dirty, filthy, scummy actors here do the same thing. So why is it so bizarre for Russia to want to interrogate dirty, scummy American actors who are participating in crimes in Russia? That's not okay. You don't want them to talk to our people, but you want to indict the fuck out of theirs. Nah, doesn't work that way. Not so crazy lady out. Just sit with this for a minute. This part. You can go to the Washington Examiner. Punch in FISA document release. That's all I did. If you don't want to wait for the other part, figure it out yourself. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I don't take shit like that personal. I wouldn't want to wait on me either, to be perfectly honest. So if you want to go ahead, and there you go. I wish I could do links for you, but I can't. The computer doesn't, this iPad is cracked. It won't let me do that. But you can go to the Washington Examiner, punch in FISA document released today, and read it for yourself. I got to break this up in pieces. Basically, Yahoo News and the Clinton campaign and military intelligence from Britain conspired to overthrow our government. Russia just wanted to pay Clinton back for what she did, questioning Putin's legitimacy as a president in 2012. He didn't forget. He didn't forget that at all. So before you start labeling people the Russians, you better understand what the hell you're talking about first. Because you don't want the Russians to see the Americans in the same light, do you?